welcome to my video, and welcome to round 2 of Am I the Antagonist? /cornhole. Y'all loved it so much last time, I'm coming at you again. To give you a little taste, this video's stories, aka questions, Am I the Antagonist? /cornhole, are Stop making this about you, Splitting the bill, Single? Mom? Unrealistic? The Involuntary Babysitters Club 1 and 2. No to the dress. And Runaway Mom. This week's shout out, by the way, goes to Wit King, 1984. Not once did you use the phrase, but wait, there's more. To which I said, oh my god, I will never forgive myself for missing this opportunity of a lifetime. And Wit King came back at me for some more. Maybe Am I the Antagonist? Part 2, Electric Boogaloo happens. Oh, I can assure you it will. Excellent. I know it's going to be a booty-full episode. Now that I gave you the little tasters, let's get into it. Stop making this about you. Am I the antagonist for announcing my engagement at my sister's funeral? I, 19 male, live in a different state than the rest of my family. I recently got engaged to my girlfriend of 5 months. I was really looking forward to announcing this to my family. However, shortly after, I found out that my 14-year-old stepsister had passed away suddenly. And because of this, it didn't feel right to announce our engagement. I wanted to give my family the space to grieve, but I also wanted to announce my engagement. A few weeks later, me and my girlfriend fly to California for the funeral. My entire family was there, which is unusual considering we all live in different states and countries. It was basically a family reunion, and had this been under any other circumstances, this would have been the perfect time to announce our engagement. But it just didn't feel right because everyone was so down. After a very depressing service, my family held a reception. The mood seemed to have lifted quite a bit. Everyone was laughing and reminiscing. Her cheer coach was even telling everyone about her upcoming trip to Morocco. I figured since everyone seemed to be happy, it was as good as ever to announce the good news. So I called a toast and announced our engagement. I was expecting cheers and congratulations, but instead the whole room went silent. A few people said an awkward congratulations, and then everyone went back to silently eating their food. It was awkward. A few minutes later, my stepsister's older half-sister's boyfriend asked to speak to me outside. We went outside where I was confronted by my stepsister's older half, who was crying hysterically and told me that I always make everything about myself and asked me why I couldn't just let this one day be about someone else. Her and her boyfriend then demanded that me and my girlfriend leave and not come back. I asked my mom and stepdad, deceased sister's dad, if I should leave, and they coldly told me to go. I have now received multiple text messages from friends and family chastising me for making a funeral all about me, and several saying they won't be coming to my wedding. I'm at a loss. I don't think I made the whole funeral about myself. Am I the antagonist? Yes. First of all, the thing I noticed was it was a very depressing service. Like, you were disappointed that this service was so depressing. Someone died. Of course it's depressing. And then you're like, oh, I'm just waiting for the right moment at someone's funeral? And then when people finally get to the point where they're like, okay, let's celebrate her life. Let's look at the bright side. Like, let's look at all the wonderful years we did get to have with her and the wonderful things she did experience. And you just get up and go, excuse me, I know that everyone is feeling slightly less depressed. I'm getting married. Wait, no one's cheering for me? What? Like, oh my god. Also, the fact that someone actually said, why do you make everything about you? Why can't this one thing be about someone else who actually died and it's their funeral? Kind of makes me think that this person is mega tone deaf. Like, this is not the first time that they have pulled something like this, but this is probably like the worst they've done. Yeah. You the antagonist, and it's kind of mind-boggling that you don't actually think that you are. Oh my god. Next! Splitting the bill. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to split the bill? So my brother and his girlfriend just got engaged and decided to have an engagement dinner. This is all well and good. Me and my partner say we can attend the dinner, but money is tight whilst I'm on maternity leave. We look at the menu beforehand and decide on our meal so we can budget for it and know what we can afford. Now, on the night, we order what we had chosen, but at the end of the meal, they decide that because it's such a big group, it's easier just to split the bill. I kicked up a fuss, as others have had multiple alcoholic drinks, and my partner and I only had one drink the whole night, and we had planned out what we could afford. My brother says I'm being childish and causing a problem because then everyone has to calculate what needs to be paid rather than just splitting. I think it's unfair for us to end up paying more, and especially unfair on my grandmother, who didn't have a starter, just a main and a side, and didn't have anything to drink all night. So, am I the antagonist here, or am I justified in my refusal to pay? No, your brother is the antagonist. That reminds me of a movie I saw once where the lady, she orders a salad, and also, it's kind of a sexist scene where the guy's like, oh, you're a girl. You're just gonna have a salad, right? You're watching your weight, right? And then he has, a steak. And then at the end of the night, she's like, okay, I'm gonna pay for mine. And he's like, no, we're gonna split it. So she has to pay for his ridiculously overpriced steak instead of paying for her salad only. Seriously? No. So yeah, if someone's being childish here and being an antagonist, it's your brother. And seriously, a group full of adults are gonna be in pain because they have to do a little math? This kind of blows my mind. I feel like that's the kind of people who don't look at the price when they order something or buy something. I always look at the price. What kind of big spender just orders shit without looking at the price? So they should already know what they would be paying. It's not that hard. Next! Single mom? Would I be the antagonist if I told my sister to stop calling herself a single mother? I have all the respect and admiration for moms. Our mom is single and she's the best. She's still taking care of my cripple ass. To be honest, if I weren't super crippled, I'd still live with her. My sister, however, is not single. Her hubby works out of town for weeks at a time, and my sister has no other responsibilities. She also lives in the suite above us, and we babysit almost every day, and my mom is regularly helping her with cooking and chores. Yes, she gets my mom, who runs a business and takes care of me 24/7, to babysit every day because having one kid is too hard for her. Yet my sister is struggling and refers to herself as a single mother. Now, she's a great dedicated mom. She's probably done more research on childhood development than most early childcare professionals. Unfortunately, she has a severe anxiety disorder. It's been an issue for her throughout her life. That's why she's overwhelmed. Her brain, not the situation, and we're supporting her through getting help and taking medication. Would I be the antagonist if I told her she's not a single mom? My worry is she's going to say this in public, embarrass herself, and offend actual single mothers. It's so cringy, I hate it. She's trying to find external reasons to justify her anxiety, but the actual cause is the chemicals in her brain. The whole family suffers from anxiety. I'm medicated. I get it. I don't think you would be the antagonist. But, yeah, definitely your sister should be taking medication and going to a therapist. I personally have a anxiety disorder that I have to take medication for because of a bodily chemical imbalance. It also runs in my family, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But on the single mother bit, I think your sister needs to reevaluate her relationship with her husband. If she genuinely feels like she's a single mother because he's not around, which is a valid feeling, she should probably be talking to her husband because that's not a good relationship dynamic, you know? So, I don't think you would be the antagonist, but I think there's some other deep-seated issues, and maybe approach her more gently, you know? Maybe be like, oh, why do you feel like you're a single mom? Maybe you should talk to your husband, you know? I get where you're getting the annoyance from, though. It annoys me when people go, I am a single parent, and they're in a relationship, and I'm like, what? And they're like, oh yes, the other parent of my child, we're not together anymore, so I'm a single parent. And I'm like, no, you're not, you're in a relationship. the instant you got into a relationship, you're no longer single. What do you mean? Next! Unrealistic? Am I the antagonist for telling my nephew that my body isn't unrealistic? This is something that has happened recently. I, 23 male, go to the gym several times a week. I'm quite muscular at a relatively low body fat percentage, around 10 to 11%. I have a ripped body and abs, so if you saw me, the first impression is that I'm someone who works out. My nephew, 16 male, looks up to me quite a bit. His mother, 35 female, my older sister, has tried to encourage him that he doesn't have to look a certain way to be happy. Fair play, I don't disagree with her. So what happened the other day was that I was hanging out with my nephew and he asked me whether I think he could look like me. I asked him why wouldn't that be possible, and he said, "My mom tells me that your body is unrealistic and nearly impossible to achieve, so I don't see what the point is in trying." Wow. I was confused and startled when I heard that. My body certainly isn't unrealistic to achieve, nor is it even close to impossible. It's difficult, but so are many things worth striving for. I clarified to him that that's completely not true. It's actually very possible to achieve what I did, provided that you are dedicated and put the work in. I used to be really fat before, and for the longest time I thought it was impossible until I made that first step. I showed him pictures of how I looked before, and it seems like it gave him some motivation. He's joined the local gym and asked me to help him out with diet, so I agreed. But my sis asked to talk to me and was very angry. She called me a cornhole for telling him what I did. I fired back and asked her why she told him my body was unrealistic when I clearly put the effort in and didn't use any steroids of any kind. She's pissed at me and seems to be mad he joined the gym. Am I really the cornhole here? No? Like, it would be one thing if you were roided out and you were like, "Yeah, come on, nephew, you should take steroids too. It's just so easy to be buff, you know." Then I'd get it. And I also get that she doesn't want her son to have body image issues, but I don't think automatically wanting to be like your uncle who's super good at working out and stuff will give you body image issues. I think more her comment of being like, "Oh, you can never achieve it," is gonna cause more misery. She should be like, "You can achieve whatever you want, honey." I think she's maybe stuck in her own fears too much to see it. So I don't think you're the antagonist, no. No. Next! The Involuntary Babysitters Club, Volume 1. Am I the antagonist for lying about my schedule to my sister and her husband to avoid babysitting? I've been babysitting for my sister, Leanna, and her husband, Lenny, since I was 15. They have 4 kids. Their oldest, who just turned 4, and are twins, Julian and Jeremiah, their 2-year-old, who has special needs, Vanessa, and their youngest, an 8-month-old named Isabel. Though they are a handful, I love my nieces and nephews and absolutely love babysitting them when I can. Recently, though, I've been purposely avoiding Leanna's calls and messages to come by to hang out, even though I know she and Lenny will be completely dressed up when I get there and make up an excuse as to why they have to go and leave me with the kids. This has happened several times over the years. Other instances include them saying they're going to a doctor's appointment in town, dropping them off at my house, and coming back hours later. A couple of times, they even came back the next day because they knew they would be late and wouldn't want to wake them up without a notice and avoiding my calls and messages. One time, I was in my restroom and came back to my room with all 4 sleeping kids on my bed, followed by a text reading, "I'll pick them up after grocery shopping." Spoiler, she picked them up hours later, which caused me to miss an exam I had for a class. Though I was never paid for babysitting, I still enjoyed doing it when I was younger and had more time. I admit I'm at fault for allowing this to go on for so long. I'm 20 years old now and attending college. My time is valuable, and when I'm not at school or working, I can't be spending my entire day babysitting while not getting paid. Not to mention spending my own money on diapers, formula, wipes, and food for them. They always ask about my school and work schedule to see when they can drop them off so they can have fun with their aunt. So this semester, I decided to lie about my schedule because after having multiple talks with them, asking if they could please ask me if I'm available first, pick them up when they say they're going to, and bring me the supplies I need, they still don't listen. Am I the antagonist for purposely lying about my schedule and availability to avoid babysitting? Hell no! Edit. I posted this in order to get some insight on my situation, but didn't even mention all my other family members going through the exact same thing as well. I have 2 older brothers, and whenever the kids aren't with me, she drops them off at their homes for their wives to look after, as well as her mother-in-law's home, and her husband's other family members' homes. She's always claimed she's wanted a big family, but can't seem to handle them. I feel like everyone gains sympathy for her because she has twins, a daughter with special needs, and a daughter that's not even 1, and another on the way. Yeah. Thank you for all the kind suggestions on ways to handle this situation. I'll be sure to stand up for myself and not be such a people pleaser. That's horrifying! Oh my god. This is the thing, like, if you don't want to hang out with children, why did you have children? That kind of blows my mind. Like, why would someone have kids and then just pawn them off on everyone all the time? Like, I get being tired and needing, like, a little time to yourself, but this is obviously not just a little time to themselves. This is like some crazy, oh, we can have as many as we want because we're making other people raise them for us sort of thing. It's nuts. And I think sooner rather than later, people need to put their foot down because it just seems like they're just popping them out like candy, and it's gonna hit them one day that people are not gonna want to help them anymore because they've exploited them. So yeah, that's gonna be a tough lesson for them to learn the hard way, but that's what they've signed themselves up for by being exploitive with all of their relatives. That's nuts. I would just say I've babysat enough for you guys. And the fact that you dropped them off when I wasn't even aware that they would be there is insane. And next time I'm calling the cops for abandoned children. Like, what the hell? Next! The Involuntary Babysitters Club, Volume 2. Am I the antagonist for calling the police on the parents that left me to babysit their toddlers without my consent and telling them I will no longer babysit their kids anymore? I am an 18-year-old guy with a lot of experience when it comes to handling kids. I've babysat my baby brother multiple times when I was 14 to 15, and even some of my cousins aged around 3 to 8. Where I live, it's not illegal to do, so don't worry. I do this when I am free on the weekend. My town's pretty small and the people there are very busy sometimes. Combine that with the fact that there aren't many babysitters and, well, news spread via my mom, who wanted me to do this, that I'm a good option. I voluntarily do my services for cheap. I'll use the currency of dollars to put it into perspective for most of you. Approximately $2 to $3 an hour, sometimes even for free. The parents/carers are always so surprised and amazed when they arrive back to see everything in perfect condition, and even more so when I tell them the price. They often offer more, but I reject because I just enjoy working with kids. This one family took advantage of this, though. I live alone with a few roommates, so this family I previously served multiple times called me and felt that they owed me a special Thanksgiving dinner because that was the least they could do. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I didn't want to be rude to their kind offer and decided that I would go. I drove there and we were having a good time eating and talking. My parents called to check in on me, so I excused myself to leave the room and go on a quick call with them and left. They must have seen this as an opportunity of some sort, because the next thing you know, they left quickly and left a note on the table saying, "Sorry, we'll be right back and pay you in full," and left me with the 4-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl. It was late, and I had plans to enjoy my Thanksgiving holiday, and they ruined it. I obviously wasn't happy, so I tried calling them 3 times, but they didn't pick up. I dialed the non-emergency police number, and when the officer showed up, I told him everything. The parents turned up and the officer demanded their side of the story. They told them they had to attend an emergency community meeting. They were lucky not to get fined, but the officer gave them a strong reprimanding and left. They were confused and ticked off at me. I said, you should have let me know, and you practically left your kids with me without my consent. That's illegal. I then told them, don't expect me to babysit your kids here on out. They've tried to call me numerous times that they need me and they apologize. But I wasn't having any of it. I told my parents and they thought I was being a little too harsh. What? No? Your parents are being way too lenient with these people. What the hell? They literally conned you into coming over to their house, and then immediately when they get a chance to, they abandon their children with someone who didn't agree to take care of them? That's straight up neglecting your children. Like, you could have literally been like, actually, no, and left. You didn't have any responsibility to those kids. So the parents should be, like, they should be praising their luck that they didn't get, fined or something for being neglectful parents. Next! No to the dress. Am I the antagonist for buying a cheap dress as a bridesmaid? My cousin is actually pretty mad at me, along with a few family members, so I wanted to know if I was the antagonist here. So my cousin is getting married and she's being a pretty relaxed bride. We're pretty close, so she asked me to be one of her bridesmaids and I accepted happily. She has pretty relaxed rules for us, and her only requirements for the bridesmaid dresses are that they had to be short and light pink. She gave us one of those swatch things to get a correct color. I looked in about 2 malls over a weekend and got frustrated because I couldn't find a single dress that matched the color, length requirement, and that was under like $200. I ended up going home and was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw a promo for Fashion Nova, an online clothing store. So I decided to go on there and just see what they had to offer because I was desperate. I ended up finding a really cute dress that met the requirements, and it was only $25. Not even the sale price. I bought the dress immediately and was super excited because I could use the money I saved from not buying a more expensive dress on other things. The dress came in and I tried it on for my cousin. I invited her over, and she was pretty upset. She says that she kind of expected that I would get a higher quality dress because I'm a bridesmaid. I thought that the dress was fine. It was simple, I'll admit that, but it was the color and length that she wanted. So I don't see why she was upset, especially if I had to pay for the dress myself. Just for a little information, it was a bodycon dress that's mostly polyester. You guys, I have a picture of the actual dress in question. This is the dress. Yep. See, I don't think your cousin was upset with you for getting a cheap dress. Like, you can get some pretty good dresses and don't have to break the bank. It's the fact that it's like a bodycon party dress. She was probably envisioning something more like this. I found some pretty cheap dresses on Joom and Wish, and that's more like a bridesmaid's dress cut. A bodycon dress? About the length requirement. Yeah, it's the length requirement, but that's not the same though when it's that fitted. No. I honestly think it has nothing to do with the fact that it's polyester or what it cost. It is about the cut of the dress. Because you can get some pretty fine dresses for the same amount of money that do not look like that you're trying to steal the attention. That's basically what that dress is. It is an attention-stealing dress, and the bride should have all the attention, and that's kind of hard if someone's standing there in a bodycon dress that looks like it's painted on. Oh my. So yeah, you the antagonist. You the cornhole, 100%. Next! Runaway mom. Am I the antagonist for telling my daughter I won't split my investments intended for my grandson to share with his new step-siblings because I don't give a shit about them? My daughter has one son. He is 15. She had a change of heart about being married to my grandson's father in 2018, who by all accounts was a hardworking, humble man. She wanted a lifestyle change. Enter the new husband, an unemployed actor with 2 children. He is irresponsible, shady, and not trustworthy. I have caught him rummaging in my grandson's room in my home with no excuse as to why. There are other things too that make me distrust him. I have a lot of anger surrounding my daughter's choice, which, in my opinion, was motivated by selfishness. She took off and left my grandson with me and my wife while she went out of state for weeks on end throughout the past year to visit her partner, and my grandson's grades, happiness, and health have all taken an enormous knock. He has lost weight, misses his mother and father, and is lonely and anxious. She doesn't call him or care about him anymore. My wife and I have purchased some property with the intention of gifting it to my grandson when he turns 18. We have also gifted from our savings into a new bank account, in my wife's name for the moment. A helpful amount that he will be able to use for college. The only reason my daughter is aware of this is because the purchase of the property was not something we were exactly able to keep secret. I decided to be upfront and tell her if she doesn't want to be a mom, her own mother and I will do right by our grandson. My daughter has threatened to estrange herself from my wife and I because we are showing favoritism to my grandson. She came to our home yelling and screaming and asked, "Do you even give a shit about the stepkids?" I told her those other 2 children aren't my responsibility, nor do I give a shit about them. They have a mother who they live with. My grandson isn't welcome at his mom's house because his new stepfather makes him uncomfortable, and she certainly isn't putting him first. My wife is usually on my side and thinks that I was right to tell our daughter the truth, but she thinks I should have been diplomatic. I think she deserved to hear the honest truth. And so do I. Oh my. That's nuts. She's abandoned her kid. And then she's like, actually, these random kids that you don't know that has basically replaced my own child that I have abandoned and left with you guys, why don't they get anything? That is literally insane. I don't think there's any way to be diplomatic about that. Like, I don't imagine any way that you can respond to someone like that in a diplomatic way. Also, she deserves to hear it because she doesn't deserve to have it sugar-coated for her. She's abandoned her child. And her consequence is people get to, tell her off for it. Duh. So that's it for this time, you guys. What did you think? Did you agree with my verdicts? Do comment below in the comments, yes. Leave a like and subscribe. I post every Friday and every Wednesday soon. Soon it will be 2 times a week. Thank you so much to my wonderful patrons, Katbra, Magdalena Jaworska, Cami, and Ellie. Thank you so much for supporting me. You're awesome. So yeah, come back every Friday, huh? And every Wednesday soon. See you later, alligator.